I've been on some bad metro systems in my life, but Baltimore, we gotta talk about this. Baltimore, Maryland, a city famous for its beautiful aquarium, early American history, more recent history, poets, pit beef, and hairspray. At only an hour or so away from DC by train, it's easy to travel between the two cities. Even more convenient, the Baltimore airport lies between the two cities, and so BWI actually serves as a valuable third airport for DC. The airport is served by MARC commuter trains and Amtrak intercity trains at the nearby airport rail station. Some people object because you do have to take a short shuttle bus ride to the terminal, but I like this connection because the trains run much earlier in the morning than the DC Metro, so you can catch flights at BWI way earlier than you can at Dulles. Coming in from Baltimore, the connection is even easier, which, makes sense. It is Baltimore's airport. The terminal is served directly by Baltimore's light rail system, which first opened in 1992. The airport section opened in 97. The light rail will take you straight into downtown Baltimore and then into the suburbs north of the city. I've covered the light rail in previous videos, but now that I think about it, perhaps it is time to make a new video covering more of the line's history, since that's kind of the direction this channel has been going. But that's a video for another day. Today, we are riding something that has never been featured on the channel before, which is why we are now in downtown Baltimore.
Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new Trains Are Awesome video. I'm Tom, I'm in Baltimore, Maryland. Just got done riding the Baltimore Light Rail. But today I'm here to ride some Baltimore Transit that I've never covered on the channel before. And it's not intentional or anything, I just have never gotten around to riding it. Today we're going to ride Baltimore's singular subway line. That's why I've come here to Lexington Market Station, the only interchange between the light rail and the subway. You actually have to walk a block to get to the subway station, but about the subway, it's not just called the subway. It's not just called the Metro. It has the most excessive name of any transit system I've ever been on. This is the Baltimore Metro Subway Link. And my thought on that is, if you're going to commit to a long, redundant name, go all the way. This should be the Baltimore Metro Subway Heavy Rail Express Train Service Link Service Train Link, whatever. Something like that. Really stand out. So a fun fact is that Baltimore's Charm Pass and DC's Smart Trip cards are interchangeable. So I was just able to load a $4.60 day pass on my Smart Trip using the money that I had on here, which is super convenient. I'm not really sure why I paid, other than the fact that I'm a good, upstanding citizen, because these are the flimsiest fare gates I've ever seen, and some of them don't even shut. So that train was headed to Owings Mills, the western terminus, which is farther away from downtown. Now I am planning to ride the whole system today, but I thought I would start with the shorter side to Johns Hopkins. Now I'm wondering if that might have been a mistake because these headways are atrocious. I really hope that the screen is wrong and that it's not 37 minutes until the next train to Owings Mills. The station is huge. It's actually pretty impressive, and the architecture reminds me of the subways in cities like Atlanta, Los Angeles, or Miami, which makes sense because it was built around the same time. Particularly, it has a lot of similarities with Miami. The old Bud rail cars that run on this line are actually the same as the older rolling stock on the Miami Metro Rail.
So we're on the train. The seats are soft and cushiony, though overall it was quite dirty inside. I'd say dirtier than New York, cleaner than Philadelphia.
Next stop is Charles Center.
These cars were built by the Budd Company, and they were actually the last trains ever built by Budd. For those who don't know, that's the company that built many iconic American rail cars, including the Amfleets that Amtrak still uses.
This is Shot Tower Marketplace. This is the eastbound train to Johns Hopkins Hospital.
They were built between 1983 and 1986, have a top speed of 70 miles per hour or 110 kilometers per hour, and are identical to the old Budd cars on the Miami Metro. This is for a very good reason. Miami and Baltimore built their metro lines at the same time, so it was cheaper to order a fleet together.
So this is Johns Hopkins Hospital Station. Another large station. This, I think, is a pretty deep station too. And there's a direct connection to the hospital on weekdays, which is nice.
Johns Hopkins Hospital and Shot Tower stations opened in 1995, 12 years after the first section of the Metro subway link opened in 1983. After briefly taking in the area around the station, I went back downstairs to begin my journey northwest towards the suburbs.
You know, we often talk about how things like public benches are designed to discourage laying down. It's kind of the opposite. Now it's time to go in the direction of Owings Mills. Now I haven't actually decided if I'm going to ride the whole line. I know I said I would, maybe I will. I'm just going to kind of look at the time. The next train should leave in about 7 minutes. According to the transit app, the headways are every 20 minutes, which is still pretty bad. Actually, it's really bad for a subway, but better than what the screens seem to suggest. It's incredible because these stations are clearly well designed. I'm seeing people cleaning, which I'm grateful for, but it's still so grimy. I don't know. Been waiting here at Johns Hopkins for the last 10 minutes.
Soon after saying that, we finally got moving. By now, I was pretty convinced I wasn't going to ride all the way till the end.
Next stop is Shot Tower Marketplace.
So despite being a large city in the northeastern United States, Baltimore only has one metro line. Why is that? Well, Baltimore was supposed to have a much larger system. We often talk about how Washington, Atlanta, and the Bay Area built out these massive metro systems in the 1960s and 70s, connecting the downtown core of their regions with the sprawling suburbs. Well, Baltimore and Miami should be considered part of that movement too, though they are often left out of these discussions because they never ended up getting as big. In Baltimore, 6 lines totaling 71 miles were supposed to fan out from downtown. The current line is the Northwest Line from that old plan, which was first published in 1965. 1971, the 71 miles had been shaved down to just 28, a Northwest Line and a South Line. Budget constraints were a major reason for this. Well, the South Line eventually became light rail instead of a heavy rail metro, but the Northwest Line was actually built as a heavy rail metro, with construction starting in 1976. The first segment opened in 1983 with extensions in 87 and 95. Just 15 miles, not even a quarter of the original plan, if you don't count the light rail. It wasn't until 2017 when the Maryland Transit Administration gave it this cursed name, when they just decided to name everything the something something link. And yes, these old Budd cars are still the original cars that ran when the line opened, though they have been refurbished. But look outside when we pass the rail yard and you'll get a sneak peek at what's to come.
Alright, so there are 3 more stations west of here, but by getting off here I can take the train back into the city and get back like 40 minutes earlier. These headways are pretty bad, but I did find out that they are because there's a single tracking section which makes sense. The normal frequency is about once every 10 minutes. We just passed a yard, and I noticed that one of the brand new Hitachi trains that's going to replace the old Bud cars was in the yard. So I want to get a better shot of that. In the meantime, I do wonder about these things. They're supposed to be for added protection on the platform. I remember reading about it in the news. It's so that you don't fall between the cars, but is that really the main concern when it comes to platform safety? Like, that seems like kind of a very minor solution to a minor problem. I don't know, in a system like this where the trains are uniform, I feel like platform screen doors would be a better safety measure. Something tells me that's not in their budget here.
All right, here we go, back to the yard, with a much better view this time. And sure enough, there it is, the new Hitachi-built cars. The yellow makes them kind of look like the LA Metro cars. They should enter service this spring or summer. I will definitely come back to Baltimore and ride those then.
There we go, that was a great shot.
And on our way back downtown, I noticed some funny graffiti. It said Po' Boy. It inspired me to go out and find the Po' House, where Edgar Allan Poe lived between 1833 and 1835, right before marrying his 13-year-old cousin. Yeah, super wholesome stuff. I had actually come to Baltimore for an unrelated event, but that was not for another few hours, so I decided to use the world's oldest form of transit for this next little bit, my legs. I walked around different neighborhoods for a little bit, grabbed some food, and enjoyed a nice October afternoon, slowly making my way to the harbor.
All right, so as you can see, I'm on a boat now. I've switched to the harbor connector, which is maybe a little bit more relaxing. Let's talk about Baltimore's Metro, Subway, Train, Express, Rapid Transit, Heavy Rail, Link, or whatever it's called. Oh, it was pretty rough, wasn't it? As far as American subways go, this was definitely towards the bottom of my list. I had low expectations based on what people had told me, but I wasn't expecting to wait so long for trains or have them be that filthy. I feel like I'm caked in stickiness just from riding that. But I am very glad that I finally can say that I have been on Baltimore's subway. I have no idea why it took me so long. And I'm not saying I'll never ride it again. I do want to come back and ride those brand new Hitachi trains. So I guess that's probably the next time you'll see Baltimore's Metro, Subway, Link on this channel. Thank you so much for watching today. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to Trains Are Awesome, and we'll see you next time.